Hi there, and welcome to this tutorial where we are going to learn how to make this beautiful scarf. It is a very long one, made with an entire color changing cake, and of course you can use any color that you wish, any colorway whatsoever. I have used this one that is reminiscent of a Aran cake, strawberry trifle. And it's a very simple stitch. As you can see, it is a what we call a V stitch, there and there, or this way and this way. So it's made with a double crochet, a chain one, and a double crochet, and it's a very simple, and I believe it is beginner friendly. So let's go ahead and learn how to make this beautiful scarf. For this tutorial you will need a 6mm crochet hook, a tapestry needle to weave in your ends, a pair of scissors, and some yarn, some Aran or worsted weight yarn. I've chosen this one, which is one of the cakes that I was given for Valentine's Day, and you can find the link to that video below in the description. This one is very similar to the Aran cake. I think it's called strawberry trifle. I'm not sure. I will put the link below anyway to the Aran cake version, because I don't think you can get this yarn anymore. It was for a limited time only. But this is an Aran or worsted weight. As you can see there, recommended 5mm hooks or needles, and I'm going to use a 6mm, and there are 350 meters in here, and it is a 200-gram skein of wool, 80% acrylic, 20% wool, and it's ever so pretty with this lovely sort of corally peach, lovely grey, a sort of a fawn and a cream in there, and it sort of graduates. You can see this bit's lighter than this part, and it's really pretty. So we're going to make our beginner friendly scarf out of this. So to begin with this tutorial, we're going to start with a slip knot and a chain of 30 stitches. Now you can make your scarf wider or you can make it narrower, and that will depend on how many chains you make at the beginning here. If you want to make it narrower, just put fewer in, but remember they need to be divisible by 3, so it needs to be 3 3 3 3 3 all the way along. So if you want to just count 3 6 9 12 and so on until you get to the width, and here we have 30. Okay, so go ahead and make your chain. Then we are going to put a single crochet into the second chain from the hook. So one single crochet, then we're going to single crochet into every stitch all the way along. I've chosen 30 stitches for mine. You can of course have yours narrower, which would then give you a longer scarf, or if you want yours wider, it would then give you a shorter scarf, depending on how much yarn you have. You don't have to use the same yarn as me. You don't have to use a cake. You can use whatever you've got that's worsted weight. If you haven't got worsted weight and you've only got DK, you can do the same thing with double knit yarn, but you might want to use a 4mm hook or a 5 just to come down, and then bear in mind that if you're doing 30 chains for your width, that it might actually be too narrow, so you might want to add 3 6 9 12 extra stitches. Oops, I let go of my stitch there. Okay, let's keep going right away across. And if you want to use DK yarn, but you would like to have it looking a bit thicker, you can always put 2 strands together. And this is quite pretty when you do 2 strands of different colours, or perhaps 2 shades maybe of the same colour. That makes it very pretty, but be aware that if you do that, you're going to want to have the larger hook, because you've gone from double knit weight and you've made it thicker, so you're at least Aran. weight there, and just be careful that every time you make a stitch you are pulling both of the strands through. But whichever way you decide to make this, it's beginner friendly, as I say, and it is lovely and easy, and it's quite an airy and lacy design. And we're going to be using the V stitch. So I'm coming to the last one here. Finish off my single crochet there. Alright, so now we've got 30 single crochets all the way along. That's looking lovely. It's a gorgeous colour. So we're going to chain one and turn our work. So we start now from the, oops, I'm on a tangle, there we go. We're going to start again from the right hand side. So we're going to yarn over our hook and we're going to make a double crochet. That's a US term, double crochet. That in UK, that's a treble. We're going to double crochet into this very first stitch. So that's double crochet right into there. If you haven't done the double crochet before, I will put a link to the tutorials below of how to do those. Then you can catch up and join us. Then we're going to make a double crochet into this same stitch, this very end stitch here. If you're unfamiliar with the double crochet, you yarn over, go into this stitch and pull up a loop. So you have 3 on your hook. Yarn over and pull through 2. Yarn over and pull through the last 2. And that gives you your double crochet. So now we're going to be making the first of our V stitches. So we're going to skip one here and go into the next stitch and make a double crochet followed by a chain 1 and then another double crochet. Then we're going to skip 2, then make the same V, that's double crochet followed by a chain 1 and another double crochet. And as you can see, we've got this distinctive V shape forming now. Skip 2 and then in the next stitch we make the V, double crochet, chain 1, double crochet, and we're going to continue this all the way to the end. And we should have 2 stitches left, and so this should correspond exactly the same on this end where we had a double crochet, then we skipped 1 to begin, and we're going to do the same. We're going to skip 1 and in the very last stitch we will make our final double crochet, and that is row 1. Looking very pretty. So let's go to the next round. We're going to chain 1 and turn our work. And again we're going to put a double crochet into that first stitch right there. Then what we're going to do for this row and for subsequent rows is we will be making our V stitch in all of the chain 1 spaces along. We won't be doing any other places other than at the very ends where we're going to put our double crochets. So I shall work this one through with you. So yarn over and go into the space of this V below and make another V. So double crochet, chain 1, double crochet, and you've created another V in the gap of the V before. Then we might do exactly the same. We don't go in here because there's no stitch there. This is the stitch from this part of the V and this is the stitch from this leg of the V. We want to go into the space in the middle. So we make another V in there, chain 1 and a double crochet, as you can see. like that. I'll do another one with you and then we'll go to the end of the row. Go along to the next V and go into the space and create another V with a double crochet, chain one, and then double crochet. And keep going. And it's just like that. Repeat it all the way to the end of the row. Come to the end of my row and I'm going to put my final double crochet in this last stitch right here on the end. And here we have the first 2 rows of the V. And that looks great, doesn't it? It's looking really pretty. And as you can see, it's quite an airy, open scarf. But this is a great stitch. And it is, as you can see, very beginner friendly and creates something ever so pretty. So we're going to keep going in the same way. We're going to chain one and turn our work. Then we're going to put a double crochet into that first stitch. And from here on, we just repeat exactly the same pattern. So we put a V into every chain one space, all the way along. And then when we come to the end, we're putting a double crochet in that very last stitch. We're skipping one and, oops, I've caught my stitch. We're skipping one and putting a double crochet into the very, very last stitch, exactly the same as underneath. And we will do that, keep going exactly the same with your V's in the chain one space and the double crochet at the beginning and the end, all the way till you have got a scarf that is the length that you want it to be. Now I'm going to go and see how much of this cake I can use up. Most scarves are about 48 inches long. So if you want to stop there, that's great. You might want to pull out your hook like this so that you don't lose that stitch, and then wrap it around your neck to see how long you want it to be. And if you think, oh, that's not very long enough, or I tie it this particular way. I like to do the Paris knot, or what's known as the Paris knot, and so actually I like mine quite long. So I'm going to keep going with this cake and see how long I can make this, and I will join you at the end to show you how we're going to do the last row and how we're going to finish off. I've come to the end of my rows of V stitches, and as you can see, I've actually folded it on itself because there's so much of it, and I shall measure this in a little while, let you know how it came out. But I've come to the end, made my last double crochet in this very end stitch here, and I'm just going to flip it round. Oops. Pop that under there and pull this forward. Right, so now to finish this off, we're going to do a single crochet, very much like the beginning row where we started with a foundation chain and then a single crochet row. We're going to do another one to finish off. And as you can see, I have this little blob. I've just noticed how much it's showing up. I have this little anomaly in the middle there. Now what happened was I actually ran out of this cake here, right here on this stitch of the V, and I wasn't happy about that because that gave me basically 2 rows of this lovely peachy coral colour. And if you remember, my beginning row was the peachy coral and it was quite a long one, and so I wasn't happy with that, and so I opened a new cake, but the first bit of that new cake was the cream, which is this colour, and I have no problem with that because I am not a fan of wasting yarn, so I have no problem whatsoever. There's a little story to that blob, but I don't worry about it at all. If you don't like that sort of thing on your own project and you've started another cake because it didn't end satisfactorily for you, then that's fine. Go ahead and cut that off. And you can always keep that aside and use the magic knot technique to create a little ball, which is what I do. I've got one right here. This is a ball of yarn that is left over from different projects, and I use the magic knot technique to join them all together, and I'm making a blanket with them all. So I could have done that, but I decided to integrate it. So I finished that last double crochet, and if you are not sure whether you have chained or not, the way to see on a double crochet is, can you pull it apart like that? Can you pull those loops apart? And as you can see, I can. So I have not chained, because if I chained, it secures it in place, and as you can see, I can't pull any of that apart. So I've finished that one there. So I've now chained, and I have turned my work, and I'm going to work the last row across here of single crochet. So I'm going to go into this first stitch and pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through 2. And I'm going to do that in every stitch. And when I come to the chain 2 spaces, I'm just going to do that into the chain, the chain 1 space. I'm just going to do that into the chain 1 space. So just like this, all the way across to the end. I need some more yarn. Let's grab some of that. Oh, as you can tell, I have started a new cake, and you know what new cakes are like. Sometimes they're a little knotty right in that center. There we go. So into the chain 1 space, then single crochet into the next 2 stitches, chain 1 space, 2 stitches, and so on all the way to the end. So I shall keep doing that, and I'll see you at the other end. Right here now at the last stitch, so I'm just going to pop my hook right through there. Oops, I've only caught one. There we are. Pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. So I've created that nice neat single crochet edge there. So all you have to do is yarn over, pull it through and snip it off. Then just pull that right the way through, give it a little tug, and grab your tapestry needle or your large-eyed needle, whatever you call yours. There we go. So what I'm going to do is just weave this in through here. Come along to about there. Pop it back out. There we are. And then just so that it doesn't come out again, I'm going to go all the way back through and pop right out the end. There we are. Wonderful. Just snip this off. And this little end goes in my toy stuffing stash, my little pot that's got that in there. So isn't that fantastic? So this is a great beginner scarf. If you, like me, have used the entire cake, then you have quite a big scarf on your hands now. And I've gone through some wonderful colors here. Now I don't believe you can get this cake online anymore. This is a cake from Aldi's, and I can't remember what they're calling it, sand, I think. Yes, it's an ombre yarn sand, but it is almost exactly the same as the Aran Cake Strawberry Trifle, and I will put that in a link for that one in the description box, and also links for hooks and things for you to get hold of. So I need to measure this thing now. I mean, this is big. I don't know how long it is, and I may mess this up. Let's have a look. So let's keep going. Oop. 26 inches all the way down there. Let's keep going. 41 to there. Wow, this is great. There we are, lay that down nicely. So my tape measure runs out there at 60. So where my finger is, oops. So we come on and keep going from 60. That's 70. 80. So it's just shy of 85. It's 84 and a bit. That's 84 and a half inches. That is a tremendous scarf at 84 and a half inches. I'm really pleased with how that worked out. And it is quite a simple scarf. As I said, it's beginner friendly because it's just, we start with single crochets. And then we go on to do this V stitch, this beautiful V stitch that's so simple, and we just finish off with a single crochet row. So as you can see, I am really pleased with my pretty scarf. So there we are. So thank you for joining me, and if you'd like to take a minute to subscribe to the channel, I'd be grateful, and click the like button below. This is a free pattern for beginners, and you basically you will learn how to be really confident with double crochets by the time you get to the end of a project like this. But if you are a beginner, I know I've got a few subscribers who are beginners. If you are a beginner and you followed along, well done, because that's a fantastic feat. You have now finished a beautiful scarf. Well done. And I'll see you all on Instagram, and next time in the more tutorials. So until then, happy crocheting.